Oh my God, you're just so smooth.
You know this name all the time.
But I want to ask you, as an artist who I know, I met Mr. Ford doing Queen Sheba's show, Don't Be Stupid, and he has an initiative where to stop the Willie Lynch theory. Now, a lot of people who don't know about Willie Lynch. It is a theory. It's been researched. It's not necessarily true, but it has become true. So regardless of whether it's a theory, myth, whatever, it's enacted every day amongst us all the time. So he has this initiative where he brought poets and singers together, and we performed at different venues around Atlanta, historical places like the King Center and the Auburn Avenue Research Library. But what really touched me was this brother really wants to change. He wants unity amongst black people, and as artists, I feel like that's our responsibility no matter what aspect of art you choose to be your endeavor, period. So why don't you speak about what made you decide, I mean, you don't have to care, you know, real talk, you know, and whether moving to Atlanta inspired that, or if it's always been in you, and what you feel like an artist's responsibility is to the community and their people.
Wow. First of all, I'm honored to be on this panel. I don't think I'm qualified to be on this panel. All these smart people up here, I'm not that bright.
Yes, you are.
But I just care. You know, it's funny because I hear more 100 times a day about whether Tommy has a job or not. And when we came up with that, I fought it like crazy. My dad was an MP in the Navy, and he had a saying that said, nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream, get off your butt and do something. And it was 6 o'clock every morning. We would have to get up in the morning and do something. If it was chores, you had to read a book, we had to do something, but we were never allowed to have idle time. So, our second season, we sat around the table. We start off every episode with the table reading. We would read the script, and the writers are there, and they give us notes of something we're uncomfortable with, and we're reading, and after the first episode, second year, you know, you take a summer break, you come back, you don't really remember. So we read the first script, and the script says about meeting Tommy after work, and then Martin stopped and go, wait a minute, do you even have a damn job? I said, yeah, man, I have a job. We did all these episodes, and everyone around the table laughed. I'm like, God, that's not funny. I mean, I have a job. Remember, we did this episode, we did that. I gave examples of that. Now, Brian was like, let's keep it. Yeah, oh my God, this is the worst thing. My dad gonna kill me because I don't have a job. I believe that two things. One, that's your first question. There's a difference between my job and my occupation. And my occupation, the things I do to get a check. For her job, for Ms. Smith's job, her occupation was to be a teacher. But what she instilled in you was more than just about her occupation.
Yes.
I believe that when we're doing our job, we're doing what we are born to do. I believe that art is ministry. I believe that the world cannot live without art. I believe that the world cannot live without artists. That God gives us our ministry to give color and brightness and solution and something to the world. When folk are sad, they turn to art. When they are happy, they turn to art. When they are bored, they turn to art. When they want to celebrate, there's music and there's song and there's all forms of art. So I believe that our ministry is our art form. But also, young people mirror the images of those they perceive are cool. And most are artists.
Yeah.
Be it rap or actors or athletes or what have you. Whether it's fashion, whether it's vocabulary, they're duplicating something that some artists at some point put before them. So the idea became, why not put some ideals before them that are empowering, that are productive, that can let them see their own beauty and their own power, and hopefully they can duplicate those. So that's really where that came from, and it's something I've always been a part of. It just happens to be here in Atlanta to do that.
So you see a lot of artists though doing that though, especially like actors, and I know not so much in the rap world as it used to be, as we all are disappointed in, but with the actors, like with the Trayvon Martin situation that occurred, it was the actors who put out the video and the love and we're here to support you first, which I was like shocked. I was like, you would think that the rappers would get together first before, you know.
Little us. many artists, many actors, and of all art forms who are doing many things in the community. However, there are some artists who need to do just what they do. Amen. There used to be a saying that a village takes a village to raise a child. Well, there's some villages I don't know anywhere where my child. Absolutely. Many of our villages are ill. Many of our neighborhoods are ill. They're sick. They're contaminated. And I don't want my babies around them. So there are some artists and actors who have wonderful gifts and great talents. And there are some who just need to keep doing art. Amen.
What about, this for the whole panel, and Minister Server, who's the minister of the Temple of Hip Hop. I just want to, ask this question. What about the people that you know better? You know what I'm saying? Like, I am the hugest Jay-Z fan, and I hate Jay-Z at the same time. Like, because Reasonable Doubt is one of the greatest pieces of art ever to me. I cry when I hear it. But for him to consciously say, since I made $5 million, I won't rhyme like common sense, but it doesn't make any common sense if I, like for money. So, and we applaud that. We continue to support that. So what do we do? And you all can chime in, raise your hand. You guys feeling any kind of way. What do we do, sister? What do we do to those? How do we hold them accountable? And what is our plan of action?
I think I was raised in Brooklyn, and I was in the park jams with LL and KRS and all those guys. There's a difference between hip hop and rap, personally. I think that there's a real misconception that because you can, spit a couple of lines and you got a dope track behind you, that you're a hip hop artist.
Which means you're for the culture.
You know what I mean? There's a big difference between being a performer and being a hip hop artist. KRS says there's a difference between being a rapper and an MC.
Yes.
A rapper can't be an MC, but an MC can be a rapper. And I think when you detach yourself from what it was that brought us to those park jams in the first place, which was a forum was given for me to be able to express myself. A forum was given for me to be able to educate. A forum was given for me to feel like something, and you were celebrated by your community, and you weren't detached. You weren't living in the high-rise in Tribeca.
Mm-hmm.
You were coming off the block. So,
is there a way for you to be in the high-rise and Tribeca?
I think there is, but I also think that we have all fallen victim to the system, which is, East Coast, West Coast wars make dollars. I've made $5 million. I'm now going to, remove myself from the very place that I come from. It doesn't serve me. You see what I'm saying? To be represented that, because if I speak out on Trayvon, then that might mess with my money. And so I think, where a man's heart is where he puts his energy. And so why get mad at Jay-Z? Why not develop a record company that promotes the more conscious?
But see, when you got people like this, is my opinion, and we're gonna go to Kalonji and then Minister Server. And I know Tommy, you wanna say something too. Well then I'm just gonna let y'all, so I don't need to say it. Kalonji, say what you wanna say.
Yeah, I think the thing is two things. One, we were known a few years ago for checking rappers, singers, entertainers. We roll right up on them and we roll deep and we let them know wherever they go, we're gonna be there. You understand what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's like some artists you think know better, but there's been many artists that we've actually sat down with that were clueless as to what's going on. So first and foremost, a lot of times people think that when you get dollar, that means you got common sense. Now somebody like Jay-Z is a very intelligent man, so I'm not gonna give him a pass on that. You know what I'm saying? But he has done things subliminally. You know what I'm saying? He did do a track with Dead Prez. He did rock the Shaker Bear and get folks into that and the red, black, and green show and so forth. Now, am I giving him a pass? No, of course not. I'm not a fool. However, like I said, if we don't make things hard for folks to move around, you understand what I'm saying? Then they're gonna do what it is they want to do. If there's no accountability, it's just like your child. If your child, you're not going, as quote the elders, whoop your child's ass, like I said, she said that. Okay, if you're not gonna whoop their ass, and you won't expect them to do certain things. You can't expect them to do what it is you ask them to do if you're not putting them in check. Many times, like I said, man, we grown up on literally everybody from Snoop Dogg to most deaf. Before most is really saying what he's supposed to be saying, sometimes you gotta educate folks. You gotta get up close to them and say, look, dude, I hear what you're saying and all that, man, but you ain't saying the right thing. But hold on, man, it ain't my responsibility. Okay, check this out. These guys over here don't even understand why I'm still talking. You understand what I'm saying? Either we can do the right thing or we can do the right thing. You cannot go into our hoods with empty pockets and leave with pockets full of money, bags full of money, and the conditions are still the same.
Amen.
You understand what I'm saying? So there's responsibilities, but at the same time, we can't put all the responsibilities on the artist either, because of the fact that many of you don't even support the artist, but you expect, I mean, like you, if you hit the lottery, you're gonna come feed the people.
Yeah.
If you go hit, I mean, some of you, but let's keep it fun.
Yeah.
That's not on your priority list for a lot of folks. You know what I mean? So you can't expect the next man to be thinking the same, thinking that way either. So like I said, accountability is job one, but we gotta be consistent with what it is we're doing. Because you have a lot of folks in the conscious community that are full of shit. Let me just say that. You understand what I'm saying? That's straight up and down. You understand what I'm saying? And they think that they're gonna just keep rolling up on folks and they have nothing to show for it. So then when folks that are really sincere about what's going on roll up on them, and they're like, look, dude, man, I just gave to, clown number 3 over here, or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So again, we gotta make sure that we're holding them accountable, but at the same time, hold ourselves accountable and make sure we're consistent with what it is we're doing. Because if we're consistent, everything's gonna go on. I'm gonna give a rap group that came out to the Feed the People program with us yesterday, Travis Porter. For all practical purposes, they're not on no conscious quote-unquote thing. They came out, they made an effort. You understand what I'm saying? So with that, regardless of whether I agree with their politics or they agree with my politics, people got fed. We fed over 300 people yesterday. That was the goal.
And I'm with you on that. We're gonna go to Minister Servin. I just wanna say a side note. Most rappers that I know in Atlanta, from T.I. to Jeezy to Ludacris, are very heavily involved in community activities. And I don't see that from other rappers across the country. That might be just the environment that they're bred in, you know what I'm saying, to be, independent about yourself or whatever. But we still need to make them accountable and that you all should be the ones helping your community. Like, I live in Fort Greene.
Right. But it's easier to hide in other areas. In Atlanta, you can't hide. You understand what I'm saying? Atlanta's more condensed. So it's like, there's not too many places that an artist can just go and not bump into somebody.
Okay.
So if you say you from Bankhead or whatever, so on and so forth, you're gonna run into somebody from Bankhead and Lenox Mall.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You might run into them over there. But in New York, you can go to Manhattan and in the village somewhere, and everybody, the people that's gonna check you might not be there.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Totally
So
right.
in Atlanta, it's kind of a forced situation.
Yeah, you're right. Totally right. Minister Servin and Tommy.
Yeah, I think the system, made an excellent point about when we look at the origin, and, I talked to young people to adults, but primarily in 2012, what I'm really looking to do is talk to us, those that are 30 and older, because we understand, or at least we have an opportunity to understand what it was, what it is right now, and we have the power to make it what it's going to be. Tommy talked about the village. They say it takes a village to raise a child, but I agree with them. If the villages are crazy,
Right.
if the villages are out there mind and not caring about the youth, then we see the results. And we can look at it in so many different areas, but when it comes to the arts, I agree. Music is the only thing that doesn't need your conscious cooperation for you to get into your self-conscious.
Yeah.
And our enemies, and there are many shades that come, so please don't get into the racial aspect. Our enemies understand that the main thing is control of the people. Control of the people. And rap music really came out in 1979. So it's not like it's ancient music, but because it pulls from so many ancient elements, it stays current and it's able to pull from the past and project to the future. So why not use that? The same thing that empowered us and made us stand upright because we heard X-Clan and Boogie Down Productions and Latino made us stand upright. Why not use that to turn around and make our young people look at themselves in a little conscious?
Yeah.
What more brilliant idea could you use than to do that? And yet it is us, the 30 and older, that have allowed this to happen, that are continuing to let it happen. These rappers have no power, they have no authority, they don't say what songs get on the radio, they don't say what show, they have no authority. All of us are working on, no, they're the lowest on the totem pole. Rap music is the lowest on the totem pole. It's working on, no, they're the lowest on the totem pole. Rap music is the lowest on the totem pole in the music industry. They'll spend more money on a alternative rock group than a mainstream rap artist as far as investing in what they want them to be. So we as a community, we have to wake up and really see what's happening to our children. I talked to too many of my peers, they go, oh, sir, man, I'm not into hip hop. I don't care what you're into. Your kids love it. You can't get enough of it. And yet the same that it empowered us is sending them to jail.
Yeah.
Making them drop out of school. Disrespect our little girls in school. And we sitting around talking about Gucci Man and 50 Cent.
Come on.
And it's just ridiculous. It's really ridiculous for us to think that our youth are going to be anything other than what we have trained them and allowed them to be. Atlanta has black mayor, black city council, black board of education, black teachers in the schools, black students, and yet one of the worst school systems in the country. Shame on us.
Amen.
Shame on us. You can't blame anybody but us. But because our generation get that 30 to 50, give or take a few years on each side, we're the ones that were given everything. We're the ones that actually came from the parents that would walk miles just so we could go to school. And we turn around talking about I don't need all that, or college dropout, and all this type of stuff. Shame on us, y'all. We have to get right back to the, as you talk about 5 things, the first thing we have to remember who we are.
Yes, sir.
And whose we are. And the legacy that, again, we're not talking ancient history, y'all. We're talking a few years ago. In less than one generation, all the work that's been done for hundreds of years, we turned that shit around, excuse my mouth. In one generation, shame on us, y'all. We gotta wake up and start individually. It starts individually. I can't expect you to do nothing for your community, you don't do nothing for yourself.
That's right.
You know, back in the 80s, we used to talk about having knowledge of self, and, you know, it's a black thing, you wouldn't understand it. All those types of things that we had. And yet, those of us that would say we love PE, what the dead president. We don't support those artists. You talk about Trayvon, there are a number of independent artists that have tributes out.
Oh, yeah.
But they can't get mainstream run. You know why? Because we, the people, we don't command that. We don't say, you know what? You can play as much as whatever you want to play, but you also have to play this kind of music. The FCC has rules for different communities that your radio station is supposed to play what the community wants. If the community doesn't care, then the radio station plays what sells to them.
Yes.
So what we have to do is stop sitting around looking for somebody to do with us what we're not doing for ourselves. And hip-hop culture is not an accident that we use the ancient elements from thousands of years ago to empower ourselves. At the core, as the sister said, at the core of hip-hop, it's about self-identification, self-improvement, self-empowerment to make social change. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's really about. We let it turn into, now when you say hip-hop, most of the people in this room would think negative rap music. Because that's been planted in our head. That only happened about 20 years ago. It's not accidental. We know what happened 20 years ago with NWA and the whole now. We know what happened. But yet we sit back and don't do anything about it. The solution is knowledge of self, to better ourselves, because I know myself that we can live much better than this. Nothing's changed. It's just another sequel. The devil still more the trouble amongst the righteous people. Grand approval, y'all. Grand new.
Yes, yes.
We need to know who we are and get busy on it. And the process is right now, 30 and older, we are the problem. Let me say that again. It's us. And it's not the young people, our elders, they shine still. So we got to talk to something about Jesse Jackson. They already done something. What are we doing besides talking about shit? We got something to do, y'all.
We gonna talk to climate. We gonna talk to Ankaya and the sister right here in the green.
I just want to step on what he was saying. If we're concerned about our youth, our roots, because, you know, they had to come from somewhere, you know. So if we're concerned about our roots, next time to meet them, next year, maybe we can have our children up here and see what their opinions are. Because I'm also a teacher, so I hear their concerns. Some kids are scared to go to school. Some kids, they don't have the right shoes. They don't have the right whatever going on. They don't want to go to school and be seen in that light. We have to get into their heads that the commercialism is not good for us, unless it's for the betterment of our health. If we're promoting, the sister Ankaya's business in terms of better womb health, and we're supporting Feed the People in terms of, you know, cultivating our own food and growing our own foods and things like that. And if we're talking about our children and addressing our children, the smartest thing would be is to have them talk to them. And to
we
actually
welcome the children every year. We have a few here. We would like it. They usually speak, but you know they're kind of shy right now. But that's very important because I feel like we don't children and what they want, and we don't talk to them about what's going on with them and how they feel.
And not necessarily just talking at them and not throwing out topics to
No.
them, but actually hearing and listening and doing the actions in which they encourage us to do in terms of talking about what is, I don't know about moral, I mean, I can't determine anybody's morality. But in the same instance, but actually hearing what they're saying to us. And the commercialism, I was just to tap in on what he was saying. If they don't need to sell us, if we don't need to buy anything, they can't sell us anything to us.
Right.
We have all the components, all the resources, everything that we have it to do whatever it is that we need to do to make ourselves greater than what we are. We have the educators, we have the medical professionals, we have the scientists, the biologists, botanists, everything that we possibly can have, we have it right here in this room. We don't need to go out and buy a host of different things because they put these images in front of us and tell us this is who we need to be. We need to be more of that, of what we need to be. We need to be representations of the kings and queens in which we came from. If we want to be that, we need to be that. We need to show that to instead of our kids telling them they need to be better than what we are, we need to be better than what we are right now. I need to be better than what I was a second ago. And they need to see that.
Yes.
Now, they can't see that. If I'm not that example, then how are they going to actually know how to grow? They need to know that, and they need to see it in all of us.
I agree with what Minister Serpent was saying about as far as what, she was speaking on Jay-Z and what he represents. In the last 20 years,
He's
Jay-Z,
a symbol. He's a symbol.
Jay-Z represents a whole lot of stuff. But I think there's this thing that say, I'm not gonna let Jay off the hook. That's fine. But I think there's an element of, Jay is a product of something that culturally that we have going on in our community. And that's been the war on drugs and drug prohibition has particularly hit our community really hard, particularly last 20, 30 years. And that's what you hear in rap music now is 30 years of what prohibition is. If you would have had Al Capone, if they were rappers in their time, they would be rapping about the bootlegging of liquor and all the, you know what I'm saying? So what you're seeing in that music is, so there's always been that war in our community of the reason that we let Jay-Z get away with it is because it was this, the people in this, because it was heroin before it was crack.
Right.
We always forget about the heroin. Heroin hit hard, it was killed the movement. You know what I mean? The Black Power movement of the 70s was pretty much killed by heroin. But crack came along and basically by that time, and you see people getting money, and it was you saw it at one point, on one hand you saw your community being killed, but you were also making money. So it always said, well, you know what? It's about money. And that's what we're gonna say when Jay-Z, when we say we let him get away with it, he's only doing what the culture has said is okay. You turn a blind eye because how many people say, well, I'm getting money. I'm getting money.
This is my thing, that's an excuse. It has some
No.
integrity, some character. Let me say this.
No,
Hold on,
no,
let me
no,
say
no,
this. Hold on, let me say this. Real talk. It ain't just the 30-year-olds. We gotta blame the 50 and 60-year-olds too. You know why? Because they said, get your degrees, you ain't no shiftless nigga. Get you a house, get you a car. They say nothing about caring about your community, having some character, looking out for your fellow man. That was not the conversation. It was being positive, kids. Being positive, that's what it was about. It wasn't about our community. So it's not just this generation. And I think that's another thing. I have a big thing with our community. I don't blame Jay-Z. I don't blame the youth. I don't blame the elders. It is all inclusive. Because the elders don't have any hope for the youth. The youth don't have any reverence for the elders and what their accomplishment, but that middle ground didn't teach them. You feel me? So it's like we all have a responsibility. That's the main thing with black people, period. If we're all accountable, if we all do something, if we all each one teach one the African principles that was a t-shirt 20 years ago.
I like to play the crackers advocate. My man, Tommy. right. I'm gonna be real frank with y'all. I grew up in the movement, you know what I'm saying? I got 19 brothers, 3 sisters, but I was the right sheep of the family, right? I was on the scene when crack came out, I was on the block. You understand what I'm saying? I was facing 36 years, I had some charges on that. You understand what I'm saying? So I was out there hard, we had things going in 3 different cities, it's documented. I ain't, you know what I'm saying, ain't nothing to brag about, this what it was. So, there is a time where we have to say, hold me down for a second. There's a time when we have to say, okay, boom, where is our responsibility? Where's our accountability? You understand what I'm saying? Jay-Z is a capitalist, and his whole thing is about getting dough for him and his particular empire. So he's a very intelligent man, period. You know what I'm saying? I know Jay-Z, I know Irv Gotti and all these cats. Another thing, I was in the music industry, I got my first record deal in 1986. You understand what I'm saying? And throughout the 90s, I managed groups on Def Jam, Profile, Sleeping Bag, Warlock, Blunt, TBT, the whole 9. So a lot of these cats I know, and I know where they come from. But the thing is, when you get certain people in your corner or whatever, you want to go with what sells. You want to keep what, you know what I'm saying? You want to keep going what's what. I mean, but let's keep it real. When the hell has Jay-Z been back to the block, man? I mean, come on, man. Ain't sold no damn
He took
drugs
Oprah.
since the early
He went
90s.
with Oprah to Albany
Took
Projects.
Oprah
I ain't never seen
Yeah,
Jay-Z.
I mean, yeah, but what time of day was it that he took over to
I'm
the
in the
hood?
middle of the day
And how
with
much-
prison security.
Right, and how many New York, how many NYPD cats he had with him? You know what I'm saying? The thing is, we have to hold cats accountable. Accountable. We can't make no excuses. Excuses only benefit excuses.
But I think that accountability comes from a different place. And, you know, I was a crackhead for 10 years. So you probably sold something to me. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I mean, like, you know, we playing with this thing, but the hit is that I was a crackhead. I left my daughter in the crack house. You understand? But I was raised by a praying mother. You understand what I'm saying? So even though that happened to me, right? There was something in the spirit that was at work.
Yes.
Right? If you ain't come from that place, I'm not talking about, like, I would love to be able to guarantee my great grandkids don't gotta work for nobody. I would love that to be my reality. And I will grind to make sure or come close to that being my reality. And I will not apologize for that. However, I know the value of sitting at the elders. When I was smoking crack and didn't want to, that's what haunted me. Not the police, not the boy with the 9, not what y'all thought about me as I was walking past you while y'all was going to work and I was trying to get the next one. I know what it's like to be on E and try to get the next one. Right? And pray to that same God. Please just let me get the next one. But there was something in the spirit that was happening that allowed me to be sitting here today, right? Because I see the benefit of that walk, right? But when you don't have that as a reference point, right? So what I'm saying to you is that my point is this. We holding people accountable to some shit they don't have no clue about.
Right.
They don't have no reference point to like, you know what? I might need to feel bad. I might need to do what Bivens did in Boston and tear down OP projects and rebuild it and make sure and got with HUD and got the vouchers for them people that were going to be displaced and put them back and said, I won't give you the money, Mr. Menino, Catholic Italian. I won't give you. He leveraged his power to make a difference. But he came from a praying mother who said, we in the projects, you ain't got to stay in the projects. But when you get up there and New Edition and you don't make that money, you need to make sure you come back and do something for community. Because he had a sense of community. When you hear Jay talk, you hear him talk about his daddy not being here and how he needed to make a difference and he was never going to ask nobody for nothing and now he just wants to be a better father than his father was for him. His priority, where his heart is where his value is. So my heart was with my mother that moaned in the kitchen. And she said, just keep living. And I listened. And so now I'm 48. And I moan in my kitchen because I know the power of moaning over the dishes. But when you don't have that, you can't make people do what they don't know how to do. So Markham said, when you say who wants to fight, and they said step forward, and he said who don't want to fight, and they stayed in the back. He turned around, he said you're going to have to kill them first. He didn't say go attack the white man. He didn't say go attack society. You're gonna have to kill them first because they're not willing to make a stand. Everybody ain't gonna be willing to make a stand.
I like that, and I'm cool with the last part you said. You got to kill him first. My whole point is this right here. I listen to Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? I like Jay-Z as an artist, as an entertainer. But at the same time, we have these children who have responsibility. You understand what I'm saying? If I'm saying or doing something that's further
In rock,
driving
in
further-
country, in
I'm
pop,
sorry?
in hip hop, and
Oh, I'm with it, and I'm saying all of that. We
Hold
gotta
on,
be
so let me say this. That like Server said, there's a difference. When you listen to country radio, which I do, there's a balance. While Carrie Underwood talking about busting cars, you got the next song talking about my praying grandmother. It's a difference. We don't
You
have
can't
that
get a
now.
song on
All
the
you got
radio.
all day is shake your butt, get some money, sell some dope, do this
Oh,
dance.
but Frank still say, let's pray about it after we play on it. You know, yeah, drop it like it's hot.
Let me ask
You
you,
know,
What they say.
Silence!
Silence! Silence! We can't all talk together.
let me ask you.
Hold on. I want Shelly to speak, I want Javante to speak, then I want Tommy. We gotta wrap this up, 'cause we'll be here all night. Come on, Shelly.
Before I tell you the four things, because you asked a question originally, and five solutions, and I will get to that.
I got it broke down.
It's all right, if you just allow me just a little leeway. First of all, Tommy talked about the war on drugs and all of that, what Jay-Z came out of. But right before that, sisters and brothers were doing poetry and performance art, and we're talking about ancestors. And if all were correct, it wouldn't matter what Prohibition did. Prohibition doesn't make you sell dope to your own people. Prohibition penalizes you for doing something wrong. Prohibition was a perfect thing to do for the black community. Because the whole purpose of Prohibition on drugs was to say, don't sell this highly addictive substance that will make a sister or brother nearly destroy his entire life and family relationships he has. That's what Prohibition should have done. What Prohibition did for us was unintended consequence of saying, hey, this is cool, you can make some money, kill some people, and everything is right. So I would never go against the Prohibition, and the war on drugs did not make my people kill themselves. The war on drugs hopefully is starting to stop them from killing themselves. A lot of people talk about this is your don't do drugs was a stupid mantra. Did it work? Yes, it did work. Because right now we have a company in a warehouse selling basic laundry detergent. A lie to you not, the name of the company is Southside Liquidators. Essentials household products. We're buying the same chemical formula from the Texas Chemical Company, and it's Tide formula, same as Tide. Gain is clean buckets. You don't like to see them in the streets. This is my company. I'm a marketing director.
Added clothes out.
Toilet paper by the caseload for $25, 96 rolls. We got paper towels. We have a warehouse in Forest Park. This is the first thing we need to do in our community. I'll get to that. But the point I'm trying to make is all the people that are working for us right now are dope boys. Former dope boys.
Yep.
All right, these are 22, 23, 24, tattoos all been on their arms, teardrops, the whole nine. These are straight street kids who I talk to in that warehouse in the middle of the day, just pull them to the side, these brothers start crying on my shoulders. Because they tell me I never wanted to sell dope.
None of them is true.
All right, but what's killing their business right now is that there are no crackheads left. Because the war on drugs worked. You made it stupid to be a crackhead. You made it ugly to be a crackhead. You made it stupid to do drugs. That was the war on drugs. It worked. Because these boys now, if you're still selling dope, you're right here at the West End, it's 10 of you on a block, you got little nicks like this when it used to be like this, and you're running up to a car, 50 deep, asking somebody if they just want to hit.
Yep.
And they're coming down to $2 and $3. They can't make no money. So the war on drugs, the prohibition on drugs worked. That's the first thing. So economically is one of the 5 pillars. What we're doing right now is a model that can work everywhere. Basically, we've taken out the multi-level marketing angle or hustle or scam to where you buy water and every month you're billed for water. All we're doing is saying, come buy the water for $1, come buy the laundry detergent for 10, take it on the street, sell it to grandma for 20. Grandma's still making a deal because Tide is $17.99 for 1.1 gallons. We're selling 3.5 for 20. Grandma's ecstatic. Grandma's even more ecstatic because the dope boy who used to sell dope on the corner is now coming to her with soap powder and helping her load her laundry in the thing. She's ready to give him $30. So this is a model that works, and we're taking it around the country. We're getting ready to go to St. Louis with a truckload. I'm getting ready to go to New York in the end of May, the first week of June, to take a truckload. It works. If you wanna get down with us, there's no scam, there's no nothing. Come buy the product at wholesale and we'll sell it to your people. All right?
I agree with everything you say about the war.
Hold on.
Hold on. I didn't agree with that either.
Right, that's what I'm telling you. It worked because understand what a war is. Understand what prohibition is. It was never meant to lock you up for doing nothing. It was meant for you, understand that my people have been going to jail. Listen to me. If you're on a corner selling dope, I want to say something to you too, and it's a side right quick. Understand what you just said when you told them that it's on record that you was moving a lot of stuff. You said, I hate to brag.
No, I said, I'm not trying to brag.
Exactly. You should have said, I'm not trying to do nothing else but say sorry to you motherfuckers. That's what you should have said.
That's the work I'm doing right now.
Right, I'm
You saying the war on drugs worked.
It did work.
You show me where the hell it worked.
It worked because right now, 20 years later, we lost a generation and we're gonna lose some more. But the fact,
You lost a
listen to me.
You need to simplify.
I am gonna, you want me
You
to
lost a
simplify?
generation, but it's cool. It
No,
worked.
wait a minute. Understand what I'm saying. The
Call it genocide.
the war on drugs
It's a
wasn't.
war on African people. That's what the war is.
Period.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
War on drugs is a war on African people.
Right.
It's a war on African people.
Understand?
You gonna sell laundry, sell laundry.
Listen to me,
Don't
brother.
talk about
Listen to me.
war on
Listen to
drugs.
me. You know what killed our people? Can I say something, sister, please? Can I say something to him?
Chemical biological warfare.
I'm giving you a solution.
I am not going to talk over everyone. That is not going to happen. Thank you. Kaya, please speak. She's been trying to speak for a minute.
Thank you. Simplify. You ever heard that word, right?
Yes.
When you simplify everything in your life and focus on you, it's all about you. It's not about Jay-Z. It's not about the politics. Because all of that shit is so confusing. It's about being conscious of you, what you're doing for yourself, so that you can show and set an example for your children. All this stuff we talking about on the panel is nothing. You know, the main thing is you. Are you working on your shortcomings? Are you working on your habits, the things that you have that's not allowing you to be your best and highest self? That's key right now because there's so much chaos going on in the world. You need to turn the TV off, the radio off.
Right.
Be selective about what you're taking in through your eyes. You're not doing that. Clearly, you're not even talking about who you are inwardly as a higher being. We should be evolving. We sit here talking about what other people doing with the politics of the politicians and them. They're gonna keep doing that. But if you don't evolve as a human being, as a person, as a man-child, we're not gonna make it.
Well,
It's
that's
all about using the healing arts. I'm a
That's
healing
first and
artist,
foremost.
okay? I'm a healing artist. I strive every day. I do something every day, a few things every day to keep myself strong. I'm almost 50 years old, but you don't see me wearing that on my face. I was a crackhead too. I have quite a few stories I can tell you. I've been around
We
a
all
lot.
do, that's why we tell them.
But see, you're not talking about you. You're not talking about your higher self. You're not talking about how to get there. We could talk about the problem all day. What is the solution?
That's
What is
right.
the resolution?
But I'm just giving that. I just
No,
gave you
no,
that.
no.
Let me say this. We will not be frustrated with each other. Let me say
I'm
that.
not
Good
frustrated.
debate is good debate. We are not going to diminish
I just want
anyone.
to speak. And I have something to say.
And you was real loud that time, too.
You didn't speak
My journey has taught me to be patient, so I hear everything everyone's saying, and it's just so much layers and layers and layers of nothing.
But no, you're not listening. You're not
No,
listening.
it's nothing.
Let me say this.
You're not talking about
Let me say
what are
this.
you doing for yourself to lift your energy
I
up?
wasn't
What are
asking
you
a
doing
question
for
yet.
yourself?
There's a whole second.
Let me say this.
That's where the core
The
of
question
I
is,
wanna-
what you talking about.
One at a time.
Here we go. Here we go. Actually, we came up with a lot of solutions. I wrote them down. I would like for all of you to sign your name so I can send you some of the things that we were told tonight. You might not have heard some of the solutions because we were in our feelings, some of us are highly passionate about what we feel, and that's good. Use that passion to educate, to uplift. You get Javante asked to speak. Javante asked to speak. Come on, Javante.
Okay, this is my thing, being a representation of our youth. One of the things, stemming back from you saying what we think, the way we feel, all of these things, what we believe, stem back to experience. Our children often experience media, cell phones. On those cell phones, they're taught to believe that, you know, rap is the way of life. Otherwise, you can get a 6-month education to be a nurse. Everybody is being a nurse, but you can go come up with a CD and then you'll become famous, a multimillionaire. And that has been proven most, like, as far as like hip hop. If we go back to teach our children like the basis of survival, because right now, in order to survive, in order to live, you have to be like a rap artist, somebody who's like very famous, a stripper, or something along the. It's about art, but it's something about it. It pushes you
It's the
more.
exploitation of it.
Exactly, more towards self-degrading, like degrading self.
And that's because that's what's been the most popular thing to make money. I remember a quote, and we're gonna talk to these brothers right here,
That's what I'm
right here in
saying.
the yellow shirt and in the white shirt. Brother Benjamin Chambers Muhammad said this. He said, back in my day, we used to freedom fight for people to pay attention to us. Now, it's about how many rocks you sell, how much money you got, the wealth outside of yourself. We don't teach or encourage integrity or holistic living or community gardens, things that have residual effects. You feel me? We're not promoting that, and we should. We learned that tonight, and that's part of what we promote. The people who would not be here, you need to speak to them. Don't be discouraged because they don't know. Like you said, man, we're not here to be mad at each other about what we don't know. We're here to uplift each other and educate and enlighten each other so that we can go out and do the same. All right, brother, right in this yellow shirt. Right in this yellow shirt.
Well, I'm observing the conversation, but certainly one of the things that I'm observing is that we're not necessarily looking at history in the sense of how it really happens. We don't really, certainly the individual contributes, but really most of us advance on what the masses do. I mean, if the masses hadn't struggled in the civil rights movement, there would be no civil rights for the individual. Because no matter how smart you was, at some period of time, if they didn't hire black or African people in the fire department or in the city hall or whatever, you didn't get hired, no matter how smart you were. So it took a movement to open up the door for the individual. So the individual is directly tied to the advancement of the masses. So we have, and I think that any people, anywhere in the world, is a level of their organization and their level of their political education that really makes them advance. So we have to fight. It's obviously some ideas the dominant society wants to oppress us and wants to keep us oppressed. So the ideas that uplift them, certainly they're going to push them down and get rid of them. So we have to struggle to organize ourselves. Those of us who have some ideas that are going to advance our people have to come closer together, become stronger, organize ourselves, and work every day for our people. We have to advance it. We'll have some losses, but we'll have some gains. Because until the masses of us are organized moving forward, the individual even if the individual advances, they really don't advance until the masses advance. That's why the richest brother in the United States still fears that he may be Trayvon Martin. So no matter how much money you've gotten, if the masses haven't advanced to the point where we can stop the white supremacy from killing our children, then none of us have advanced, really, not really. So that's what we have to concentrate on, organizing our people and educating our people. And it's not I guess what I'm saying is it's not something that we can take lightly. It's something we have to do every day. That's something we have to fight with ourselves to do, fight with our people to do. And I'm not talking about because some people concentrate on our people having baggy pants or whatever, and that's the big problem. But I think it's obviously people start slinging to make money. So there's an economic problem in our community, and certainly we can advance it in different ways. But certainly even now, the question of the proportion. When I was growing up, we had fewer doctors, fewer lawyers, fewer educated people. But we have more because of the movements that opened up the doors and allowed more people to get involved. Now the question is the struggle with those same people who got those degrees to use them to advance our people. Because they mean absolutely nothing to us if they don't not used to advance the masses of our people.
Brother, come on, we got the, yes, brother.
You don't want to say much, simply say that everything everybody said makes sense, okay? Everybody can contribute to what we're here to do. However, there's a few people that point out a few things, like my brother that spoke right now. Everything he said was very profound. We have to understand that, to me, everybody that's in this room is, to a certain extent, conscious, right? But it becomes sometimes like a religion that we wear and we walk around with, okay? And we end up judging other people, you know, and we're not taking any action. The same people that call themselves conscious have personal issues that they don't deal with because they feel like they're conscious. So because you're conscious, you're still having a hard time dealing with your own self, where you can contribute to your own community. So when you deal with yourself and you know you have flaws that you need to check in order for the whole to advance, you do that first, and then you take action, which goes to what Kalonji said, holding people accountable. Jay-Z was a student of Malachi Zio.
Yes, I know.
Okay?
I know.
So what is Jay-Z doing right now? He's doing something on purpose to make money knowing better. That means he needs to be held accountable.
Exactly.
Point.
You understand? So, work on yourself. Better yourself as a person, and then let's take action. Which means the rich people out there that look the same way as us, that's not helping. What you doing? What's up? Okay? If you are a so-called rapper, and what you speaking is not going to uplift my people, and you know better, and again, let's go back to an example called Jay-Z. Yo, I need to check you. And we need to find a way to organize to check you. Okay? Now, if you, the Travis parties that came to help us yesterday when we went to feed the people, them boys don't know much. We need to, they came, they helped us. We need to educate those boys, because the Travis Party boys, they may be 20, 21. They can be educated. They can be helped. If they don't want to listen, okay, we got to deal with it in a different approach. So again, you work on yourself. You better yourself. You don't wear the so-called conscience stuff as a religion. But I mean, come on, you know better, take action. Change yourself and then contribute.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. Y'all know what the solution was? Everything you can do, you should do. Starting with you. That is the solution. And we have other immediate things, like we said with the music. Make a conscious, a wake up, whatever, I don't want to make conscious cliche. Effort every day to request Goody Mob, Fight to Win. Fight to Win is the new single from Goody Mob. You want to talk about doing something. They are talking about, if I am here, what is it? I fight to win. If I lose, I still win. You know what I'm saying? Because I died fighting for what I want. You know what I'm saying? If I win, I live to fight again. Do you hear? Because there's always still something out there. It's not just about us. We are the mothers of civilization, the fathers of civilization on this planet, period. We are the blueprint. And we must believe in our royalty and our divine inheritance. It's not to lord over people. It is to be responsible to. So we're going to sing a song. I want to thank my panelists for being here.
We're talking about, let me just say this real quick. We're talking about the fact that we've been enslaved, we've been damaged. We got like over 500 years of pressure on our heads and our back. So as Public City said, we got a right to be hostile. You understand what I'm saying? The reality of this thing is this: no one meeting, no town hall meeting, no particular classes, none of that. This has to be something that we live every single day, and we have to internalize it. You understand what I'm saying? Like sister here, you know, she's talking about the sacred woman thing. That's great. I was a sacred king man back in 1999. I was gonna open up a temple of Kahuki up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. You know what I'm saying? I work with Samaj and Kahu and all that. But I'm a student of different teachings and things of that nature. I grew up in the movement myself, but at the same time I backslid. That's why I ended up on the drug scene, because I got down with peer pressure. We had locks when it wasn't popular. Before it was a popular thing.
We all stood in peer pressure.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, the peer pressure thing is not an excuse.
I didn't say that about.
Evolution.
You want to say that? You want to say that? What about these chemicals you selling them time? That's chemicals, man.
All right, y'all.
I love chemicals, man.
As y'all see,
Crazy hell.
Trav, you got something to say? Okay, y'all. Before we get out of here, Trav, come up here, please. We finna get out of here. Trav, come here, see.
In the spirit of community, I need y'all to go to that food that
Please, y'all, eat that food. But we gotta, we're going to sing out. I'm not gonna speak over all of you people. Okay. I want Trav to say what he has to say, because he's been trying to speak. And then I just want to thank everybody who's here. We're gonna sing our songs. We're not gonna sing all of them. We're just gonna sing, lift every voice and sing. I got 3 of them. You do Goody Mob and We Shall Overcome, but we are running late. So, Trav, come speak.
I'm good. I'm sit right here. First and foremost, man, we gotta applaud each other's effort. You see somebody one solution, of course, ain't all solutions. But if one solution is working, applaud whoever's, ahead of this movement or whatever. Shelly, I applaud what you're doing, brother. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, you got a lot of brothers that's normally might be out on the street, selling drugs, etc. You got them brothers from working, man. Not only that, but you ministering to those brothers. You know what I'm saying? Tattoos, teardrops, the whole nine. I applaud what you're doing. This brother spoke to y'all and let y'all know he came up in the movement. He backslid, but guess what? He back.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying, for what he's doing. So basically, in a nutshell, man, just whatever you choose to do, as a organizer, everybody ain't leaders. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta be a follower. So you have to have sense enough to know who to follow. You know what I'm saying? And so just applaud our folks, man, for everything that they're doing. God bless Tommy, man. Come on. Reversal of the Willie Lynch theory.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know what I'm saying? So you could have took your experience and your popularity, and you could have continued on your road doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? Going some places that may not have affected your people at all. You may not. I'm making this money. I'm good. But so we're applaud what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So applaud whether it's small, whether it's big, applaud your people, man. Everything that they're doing.
And that's what the tribe of Judah is about. We're about celebration. We're about exaltation. We are not haters. That's not in our spirit. We are lovers. We are nurturers by spirit, and we shall continue in that same vein. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm so grateful. It was wonderful. I want everybody, all the kids and everybody as you go out, please get a balloon. But right now, everybody join hands. We're going to get out of this circle, except for the cameras. And we want to thank our jeweler. We want to thank our beautiful jeweler. Y'all see this piece I have around my neck? This brother gifted me this.
Yeah.
You can please support him in any way you can. He has amazing jewelry. I want to thank Leslie again for that good, healthy food. Fidelity Culinary Services. I see him. Thank you for helping out. And I want to thank my videographers and of course Kevin and the Omanala Grill Cultural Center. Again, with what brother? You have something to say?
I was going to thank the sisters. She makes the shirts. Just tell everybody, look at your adornment, your clothes, your pants. I haven't found a black shoemaker yet, But, look at everything you're wearing, see if it came from someone in your community. If it didn't, then go shopping and replace everything you can with something.
Amen. Blackonomics. Blackonomics. And tomorrow we have our comedy night at Tiempo Provider. I know that's what my cousin was gonna say because she one of the comedians. Tomorrow night on Blackhead. All of Tamika Festival events are on the west side so that our community know that we can have excellence right here where we stay. So,
recap of this.
ma'am.
We get the recap of.
Gerald, that's up to Gerald and Yaya and Chris as they edit this event.
Will it be on your site or will it be on Facebook?
It will be on my Facebook, it will be on my website, I have two. And it'll be on my YouTube page, Georgia Me World. And then FM Digital Live, we figured out a way to get it on there too. Because me, Shelly, and Tommy all are, I have radio shows on FM Digital Live. And he has last year's Tamika Festival already for purchase if you would like to see what happened last year. All right, so.
I want to ask y'all to the best dressed man here, the man with the shirt, with that shirt.
All right.
And let's make sure that we all, everybody lay your hands right quick. One more time for Miss Linda Smith. Now, I know everybody in ministry service is going to be mad because everybody don't know all the verses to lift their verse and sing. So we're just going to sing the first verse and everybody get a balloon so we can lit it off into the sky tonight, okay?